So thanks so much. I'm here with Jonah Blank. He's a senior political scientist at the RAND Corporation, which focuses on policy and decision-making through research and analysis. I want to pick up on something one of the guests in Beijing said, basically pointing out this is a political plus for Donald Trump. He can go back and say, look, I was able to do something Obama wasn't able to do or any of the other presidents. But you were saying to me earlier, all these presidents had this opportunity, that front-loading a summit was something that they didn't even want any part of. Talk to me about that. Why do you think this is a mistake on the part of the U.S. president meeting with Kim Jong Un?
Well, it's delivering to Mr. Kim one of the top demands of North Korea for nearly 3 decades. A summit with the U.S. president has been something that Mr. Kim, his father, arguably even his grandfather, desperately wanted. And all of Mr. Trump's predecessors could have had this anytime they wanted. All they had to do was deliver a gift without any concessions. So I think that this really is looked at the wrong way if one is thinking this is bringing Mr. Kim to the table. Mr. Kim always wanted to bring any U.S. president to the table.
And the atmospherics you were saying are going to play well in Pyongyang.
Oh, definitely. I think that we are going to see on North Korean media the raised thumbs up from the U.S. president. We're going to see the smiles, the hand on the arm, the sort of genial dynamics that we did not see at the G7 in Canada.
And you also mentioned to me when Bill Clinton went to Pyongyang, he deliberately did not smile, that the presidents are briefed not to smile, and yet he was doing the exact opposite.
That's correct. Bill Clinton, when he went after he served as president, when he went as a private citizen to bring home U.S. hostages, he was told by members of the State Department, other branches of government, don't smile, because that will be portrayed by North Korean propaganda as a victory. If Mr. Trump was given the same marching orders or the same advice, it does not seem as if he decided to act upon that.
Let me ask you about substance, because a lot is being made about personal connection. In fact, the U.S. president is talking about that. But at some point, it has to get into the substance. And each side wants something. Kind of outline for us. Obviously, the U.S. wants denuclearization, which you believe there's no way Kim's going to give up what he has achieved at this stage. How far can they get him to move, do you think?
Well, one of the key things that we have to understand is when North Korea says denuclearization and ending the war, they don't mean the same things that people in the United States mean when they say these things. In North Korean diplomatic language, both of these things mean severing the alliance between the United States and South Korea. A denuclearized Korean peninsula means not just North Korea giving up its nuclear weapons, but the United States withdrawing its nuclear umbrella from South Korea. South Korea has no nuclear weapons. So we have to understand what is being said here. And I think that the two leaders were speaking vastly different languages.
We know that there were the 6-party talks. Do you think a return to something like that is a good mechanism? And also, what role do you think China could play in all of this?
Well, I think a return to the 6-party talks would be a very good mechanism because the 6-party talks were making progress. And before that, the agreed-upon framework between the United States and North Korea under President Clinton made very good progress. In both cases, though, the framework was not, we're going to make North Korea give us unilateral concessions. We're going to turn a nuclearized North Korea into a North Korea with no nuclear weapons whatsoever. That might be an aspiration, but realistically, we can't expect that to happen, at least not in any kind of near-term time frame. Kim Jong Un does not want to become Muammar Gaddafi.
Do you think the U.S. president has kind of boxed himself in? Because he said that the Iran nuclear deal is a bad deal. But really, the best thing he can achieve from your standpoint with the DPRK is an Iran nuclear deal, in a sense, right? I mean, stop them in their tracks where they don't advance, kind of maybe measure back a little bit. And yet he's saying that's a bad deal.
You're absolutely right, Mike. The Iran nuclear deal provided a framework for what a pie-in-the-sky, excellent deal with North Korea could look like. Now, I think it would be unrealistic to expect a deal anywhere near as good as the Iran deal from North Korea. But to say that the Iran deal was not good enough, that really is boxing himself in, because it's very hard to imagine Mr. Kim agreeing to the level of inspections, of verification, of actual verifiable commitment to abolish a nuclear program that we already had gotten from Iran and was tossed out.
Jonah Blank, thanks so much for coming in, offering your insights. Certainly appreciate it.